Hey everyone, my name is Corey Hanna. Welcome to Rock Reviews. This is a new feature on my channel where I will review a recent album release from a band, and while it plays in the background, I'll give you my opinion on it, whether or not you should buy it, and a little backstory as to why my opinion is as such. This time we are doing AC/DC's album Rock or Bust. And, as far as AC/DC goes, this is pretty standard. It follows the general rules of AC/DC. Some awesome guitar licks, simple beat pattern, and it's very chord driven. It's AC/DC. They haven't varied a lot since the 70s. But as far as AC/DC albums go, it's a pretty average album. There are not a lot of albums that really stand out from them, but the ones that stand out have made them what they are today. Now, back in the 70s, each album varied a very slight amount. They had brought something different to the table each time, and that was great. That worked for them. After Bon Scott died, Brian Johnson was introduced to the band, and they released the massive success of Back in Black, which is one of my all-time favorite albums, and it is there for a reason, because it is one of the best albums of all time. This was followed up by For Those About to Rock. Now this is where they followed it up with a few albums that were just average. Fly on the Wall, Flick of the Switch, Blow Up Your Video. I may be forgetting one in there. But then they followed it up with Razor's Edge. Once again, phenomenal album. And then Stiff Upper Lip, average. That was followed up by the very, very, very solid Black Ice album. Great album in my personal opinion. And they followed that up with this. This is average. This is one of those average albums from AC/DC. Like I said, it follows the rules. It does what it needs to do. It has its very solid rock moments, but it's just a good album from AC/DC. It's not a great album. Great albums from them come around every other album, essentially. And it's not great. It's not great. It doesn't stand out to me in any way. It does what those albums of the 80s did. It featured 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 songs that were really outstanding, but the rest of the songs are just kind of meh. And that is the problem with this album. They announced, I believe in 2012, that they were going to make a new album, and they had 2 years to write this after they announced they were doing it. And for 2 years worth of writing from a band like AC/DC, I guess, honestly, I expected a little more from them, and I feel a little let down by this album, to be perfectly frank with you. Now, if you're a big fan of AC/DC, go right on ahead and buy it, because it is a good album, as are all their albums, in my opinion, because I am an AC/DC fan. I love AC/DC, one of my top 5 favorite bands, honestly, my second favorite band. And this is just a bit of a letdown, not gonna lie. That's not gonna stop me from going to their concert next time they roll through Columbus, but that is definitely not what I was expecting from 2 years worth of effort. Now again, if you're a fan of AC/DC, go ahead and buy it, because you'll enjoy it. If you're a soft AC/DC fan or not an AC/DC fan, this is not the album for you. It is not the album that's going to spring you into be like, oh, I love AC/DC now. It's going to be like, alright, I'll listen to it. And, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. It's just an average AC/DC album. And on that note, I'd like to thank you for joining me for Rock Reviews. I'm Corey Hanna. I'll see you next time. Rock on.